Welcome to the deep dive. This week, we're doing a real quick look at the crypto markets.
Yeah.
April 7th to 13th, 2025.
Yep. Got the report right here.
We have this detailed weekly report, and basically our mission is just to give you the highlights. The key price moves from what was, well, a pretty interesting week.
Definitely eventful.
You're here to get the important stuff fast without getting totally bogged down. So let's do it.
Sounds good. And this report, it really shows a bit of a shift, I think, in market dynamics. Let's dig into what actually moved things.
Okay.
It seems like it was a mix, policy stuff, market strength, and some specific blockchain action creating waves.
All right, so the report's calling it recovery and optimism. What was driving that feeling? What were the main things?
Well, I'd say three main things here. First, the report really stresses these pivotal policy shifts. There's one big one we should definitely talk about.
Okay.
Second, it mentions institutional momentum. Now, it doesn't give a ton of specifics for this week, but the prices suggest, bigger players are still interested.
And third, blockchain-specific developments. So some pretty exciting stuff, especially in the Solana world. That's worth a closer look.
Gotcha. Okay, let's hit the specifics then, starting with the big one, Bitcoin. Quick rundown on the price.
Right, Bitcoin started the week around $78,945, climbed up, hit a peak of $85,000, looked like it settled near $84,500 by the end.
So a pretty brisk gain. What's that, about 7%?
Yeah, about 7% gain overall. Pretty solid for BTC.
Okay, and what kicked that off? What were the key drivers?
The report points to a couple of immediate catalysts. The biggest seems to be that U.S. announcement on April 8th.
Yeah.
A 90-day pause on most tariffs, not China, but most others. And boom, Bitcoin jumped like 7% almost right away.
Wow, okay. So global economics hitting crypto instantly. That's pretty direct.
Yeah, it really shows you, doesn't it, how quickly that macro stuff can filter through. Anything else pushing Bitcoin up?
Well, what's also quite interesting, the report notes this. On the same day, April 8th, Bitcoin kind of mirrored a soaring Dow Jones rally.
Huh. That is interesting. Sometimes Bitcoin goes the other way, right? Like a risk-off thing.
Exactly. Traditionally, yeah, sometimes it's seen as a hedge. But rising together like this, it suggests maybe crypto's aligning more with general market optimism sometimes. A potential shift, maybe?
So less of a hedge, more just general investor confidence flowing in. And the report mentioned momentum kept up later in the week.
It did. It cites positive macro headlines and renewed risk appetite, helping push Bitcoin past that $85,000 level on April 12th.
Okay.
So yeah, easing economic worries seem to give Bitcoin a nice tailwind.
Got it. Okay, let's switch gears. Quick update on Ethereum. How did ETH do during this recovery week?
Ethereum also had a strong week. Actually, did even better than Bitcoin in percentage terms.
Really?
Yeah. Started around $557, peaked up at a $728. That's an 11% jump right there. And probably finished the week near $1,700. So net gain around 9%.
Okay, another strong showing. What lifted Ethereum? Similar story.
Pretty similar, yeah. That tariff pause on the 8th was a big deal for ETH, too. The report mentions a pretty notable 12% daily jump right after the announcement.
Right.
So again, that broader market good feeling spreading out to the altcoins.
Makes sense, that first positive wave. Anything else specific to Ethereum driving interest?
Well, the report does note increased trading volume, hit $44.73 billion midweek.
$44 billion, okay.
Yeah, so that suggests, renewed investor interest, specifically in Ethereum, not just riding the wave. But it also says ETH hit some resistance below $1,800.
Ah, why is that?
Probably facing some competition. Other altcoins were also doing well, like Solana, XRP, maybe drawing some attention.
Right, competition definitely spices things up. Okay, let's jump over to Solana then. The report called its week remarkable. Quick summary.
Oh, remarkable is definitely the word, yeah. Solana opened at $107. It surged 14% just by April 9th, hit $122. And it just kept going, finished around $133 by the 13th. That's, roughly 25% gain in just 1 week? Really outperformed Bitcoin and Ethereum.
25%. That's a huge leap. What was fueling that kind of growth?
It looks like a few things really came together for Solana. Like the others, yeah, it got a boost from the tariff news, jumped about 12.5% on the 9th. That helped it bounce back.
Okay, but 25% must be more to it.
Oh, for sure. The report really emphasizes the strength of its own ecosystem, internal stuff.
Ecosystem strength, like what specifically? What are they pointing to?
Specifically, yeah, the ongoing memecoin surge happening on the Solana network, and also lots of buzz around its Layer 2 project, Solaxy.
Solaxy, right, Layer 2.
Yeah, those internal things seem to have really boosted confidence in Solana's future potential. For listeners, Layer 2 is basically just aimed to make the main blockchain faster and cheaper.
And Solaxy had that big pre-sale, right?
Exactly. Huge success. $29 million pre-sale. Generated a lot of excitement. Plus, the report notes a technical breakout for SOL. It broke above its 100-day EMA, that's the exponential moving average, at $122.
The EMA. That's often a bullish sign, isn't it? Breaking a longer-term average like that.
Precisely. It's a trend indicator, and breaking above that is often seen as, momentum shifting positive. So lots of bullish forecasts followed that.
Okay, so a mix then. Macro good vibes plus really strong internal Solana stuff. Makes sense for that kind of performance. All right, the report also did a quick fire round, top weekly movers outside the big three. Who else stood out?
Right, yeah, quick look at some others. First, Solaxy itself, the token SOLX.
Makes sense.
Fueled by that pre-sale and all the hype about it being a potential, 10x Solana token, it saw a massive 50-60% surge.
50 to 60%. Okay, yeah, that'll get noticed.
Who else?
XRP. Also had a really good week, rallied 15% from its lows on Tuesday, got up to around $2.10 by the 13th.
What was driving XRP? Again, partly the general good mood after the tariff news, but also just continued optimism about its longer-term price targets for 2025. The report even mentions its market cap got close to Ethereum's for a bit.
Oh, wow. Sparking the flippening talk again.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's that kind of talk. Market cap, for anyone wondering, is just the total value of all the coins out there.
Right. Okay, any meme coins making noise besides the Solana ones?
Oh, absolutely. You can't have a crypto week without them, it seems. Dogecoin, DOGE, saw a 10.5% gain by Tuesday. Probably finished the week up like 8 to 10% overall.
Riding the altcoin wave.
Yeah, altcoin recovery, general meme coin buzz. And then there was Fartcoin.
Hey, Fartcoin? Seriously?
Seriously, a Solana-based meme coin had a crazy 28% daily surge at one point, probably 20-25% for the week.
Okay. Just goes to show, doesn't it? Some of these things just defy gravity sometimes.
Totally. Highlights the speculative side.
Did anyone actually, go down or pull back?
Yeah, one mentioned is Toncoin, T-O-N. Saw a bit of a correction late in the week, maybe 5-7% down, after some earlier gains.
Profit-taking, maybe?
Report suggests, yeah, likely profit-taking. Especially with Solana doing so well, maybe some money rotated over there.
Okay, so mostly up. Some huge winners, a couple pullbacks.
Got it. Now, the report also summarized the top 10 crypto news stories. What were the main themes there? Did they match the price action?
Yeah, pretty much. The news headlines really just echo the moves we've been talking about. No big surprise that Trump tariff pause was the #1 story, clearly marked as the trigger for the whole market rally.
Right, biggest catalyst. What else?
Solana's big week, obviously. That surge, the ecosystem activity, the meme coins. That was a huge story.
And Solaxy.
Yep. Solaxy's successful pre-sale and what it means for Solana's Layer 2 plans. That got a lot of ink, too.
Okay, so Solana really dominated the news cycle as well. What about Bitcoin and Ethereum?
Bitcoin breaking 85K was definitely a key story, linked to that macro optimism we discussed. And Ethereum's gains, part of that broader altcoin comeback, were also widely covered, even if it lagged Solana and XRP a bit, percentage-wise. And the meme coin mania, did that get coverage beyond just price charts?
Oh, yeah. The general surge in meme coins was a talking point. Fartcoin even got mentioned specifically for its big jump.
Yeah. Right.
And beyond coins, the rally in crypto-linked stocks was news too. Showed that optimism spreading, reinforcing that connection between TradFi and digital assets.
Interesting, seeing that correlation play out. Anything else in the top 10?
Let's see. The report mentions Solana's DeFi space growing despite some chatter about congestion issues.
Okay.
And finally, some talk about Bitcoin's safe haven narrative strengthening a bit, though the report suggests the tariff news had a much bigger, more immediate impact on price this week.
Got it. So it really does all tie together. Tariff pause lights the fuse.
Exact.
Market rallies, and then specific things, especially within Solana, added a ton of fuel.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The report really highlights that interconnectedness, how a big policy shift lifts everything, and then the strong projects with real developments, they get to shine even brighter and push higher.
Okay, great overview. Let's wrap this quick dive up then. April 7th to 13th, 2025. What are the absolute key takeaways for listeners?
I think two main things stand out from this week, just looking at it concisely. First, how sensitive the crypto market really is to those big macroeconomic policy decisions. That tariff pause reaction was crystal clear.
Yeah, undeniable impact.
And second, just the power of ecosystem-specific stuff. The innovation and activity within Solana drove huge gains, independent of just the general market mood.
Absolutely. A snapshot of a market reacting to the outside world, but also driven by its own internal engines. So, for you, the listener, maybe something to think about. Seeing Solana's ecosystem pop off like this week, what trends or developments in other blockchains might be gearing up for something similar? What should you be watching for?
Good question.
Or, with that increasing correlation we saw, the Dow, crypto stocks, Bitcoin, all rallying together after the tariff news, how might future big economic policy changes keep shaping this whole digital asset world?
Yeah, definitely lots to consider. This space just keeps moving so fast.
Indeed. This week really showed the dynamics at play.
For sure.
And we'll keep bringing you these quick, focused dives into the crypto world as it evolves. Thanks for joining us.